it's me Traven. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is the long-awaited tutorial on how to make increases and decreases in fil crochet. And once you learn how to make this, you can make oval, rounded, like any shape that you want in fil crochet. So for the tutorial I made this piece. The design stand out a lot on camera, but in real life it's a bit more, like, it's way more subtle. So this is why I've made two version one. So this is Snuffy. It's a character from Miffy. There's a couple things I want to go over before the tutorial start. So if you never done crochet, just crochet, not fil crochet, but just crochet ever, I would recommend you to go watch the first tutorial that I've made. I go over like the basic stitches that you need to do fil crochet. If you never done fil crochet, you can still watch this video because I will explain how it's made. How do you translate a pixel grid to a pattern? Because it's something that I wish I explained better when I first made my fil crochet beginner guide. If you're familiar with fil crochet, you can obviously skip this part. And one last thing, I know that long intro are really annoying when you watch a tutorial, you just want to go for it. But one last thing is that I want to make like a fil crochet video, not a tutorial, but going over like the supplies, sharing my tips and tricks to work faster, how to make your project look better, and like commonly asked questions. So I will use like questions that I've often gotten in my tutorials and questions that I had through like DMs. So I'm going to explain how fil crochet work is structured and how you translate your pixel grid to a pattern basically. So here I have a 3x4 grid, and so first I need to figure out my base chain. So I personally work one chain on or one DC when I do the inside of my boxes, but you can also apply this to, if you prefer doing time free, if you want to have a bigger project. I personally like my projects to be really small, so I always do ×2, but you can also apply this to time free. I have the equation is you take your number of pixels that you have, so in this case I have 3, and what I do is I do 3 × 2 + 1, and that will give me my foundation chain, and in this case it's 7. And when I translate it, and when I look at my drawing, so if you're all not familiar with graphs like that, so the little circle is a chain and this is a DC. Yeah, so here I have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 for my base chain. To start my first row, I need to add 3 1 2 3. The first two chains that you added will act as a DC, and the third chain will act as either little chain space here. And then I will do my DC in the 6th chain from the hook. So then I look at my grid, I have an empty box. So what do? I do a chain and I do a DC. Next pixel, I have an empty box, so once again I do a chain and a DC. Then I'm here. I need to start my second row right here. So same thing that I did, I will do 3 chains, two that will create the DC and one that will act as the chain space. And I do a DC that and the DC that I make need to be stacked on top of the DC from the row below. You really need to think of your DCs that are always stacked on top of each other as the horizontal line in your grid. Then I have a colored box. So what do? To fill it in, I had a DC. Then I do my DC that is stacked on the DC from the row below. And then I chain one, and I do a DC, and then I start row 3 the same way that I've started row 2. And don't forget to rotate your work at the end of each row. Okay, so I hope this was clear. If you do times 3, instead of having just one between your two DC stacks, you will have 2. And when it's empty boxes, you will do 2 chain between the two. And instead of doing 3 times 2, you do 3 times 3 plus 1, and that's 10. I personally think it's easier to follow your chart from the narrow side instead of the bottom of your chart. If my chart is smaller on the sides, I will just turn it like that and follow it like this. After, it's up to you. I'm starting here, you can start here. You don't have to follow this specific chart. You can pick any chart that you want and apply what I'm going to say to your design. But I already did the math. I have 16 pixels here, and so I have to do 16 times 2 plus 1, and I have 33. So I'm gonna go ahead and do 33. So I did my 33 chains, and now I have to start row 1. So just like my little drawing here, I have to add 3 chains. And in the 6th chain from the hook, I will place my DC. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right here. That's when I do my DC. And then I just have a row of empty boxes, so I will alternate between chain 1 doing a DC, chain 1 doing a DC, while skipping. So I chain 1, I skip this one, I do my DC here, I do a chain, etc, etc. So chain 1, yarn over, skip this one, and do my DC in the next. Okay, it's a bit annoying, and it's definitely annoying in the beginning because you don't have anything to hold on to. You just repeat this process until you reach the first row here. So I will pause here and I will meet you here. I just did my 16 pixel of my grid, and now I need to start increasing. So what I'm going to do is chain 3, and then I turn my work around, and I need to place my DC right here. So I yarn over, I insert my hook, and I do my DC. Sorry, like usual. Now I have to do another row of just empty blocks. So I do chain one and stack my DC on top of the DC from the row below. So for the end, I hand with a regular, so before doing my increase, I do it like regularly. I just do it normally, and now what I do is chain one, and I do a treble crochet. So a treble crochet is the same process as a double crochet, but instead of yarning over once, you yarn over twice, and you will have 3 thread on your hook. You insert your hook here. In the same spot you did your last DC on your row, that's where you place your treble crochet. So you insert your hook, and here you go. You just yarn over once, yarn over twice, and yarn over 3 times, and here you will have your 18 little pixel. Now I do 3 chain, I turn my work around, and I do my DC in here. So I yarn over, I insert my hook, and I do my DC, and then I chain one. Once again, it's still a row when I have only empty boxes. So I just crochet like normal. So I'm going to pause, and I will meet you at the end of this row to do the increase. Here I have 2 more regular pixel to do, and then I have to do my increase. Here you need to not do it here, you need to do it in this one, like that, and then we do 1 chain. Now the treble crochet, I yarn over twice, and I insert my hook in the same space I did my DC. Okay, then I do my 3 or 4 chains, that's up to you. I turn my work around, and I do my DC right here, where so you do your DC where you're right before your 3 chains starts. If this like helps you to memorize. So here I'm on row 4, and that's where my design actually starts. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 empty pixel before I have to do 2 filled in 1. So here I have my first one, and I have 7 more empty ones to do. So I chain 1, skip the NDC on top of the other DC. So that's 2. Once again, chain 1, stack my DC. That's 3 chain space, and then chain 1, stack my DC, chain 1, stack the DCs, chain 1, stack. How many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 more to go. Right here. And 8. So now I need to do one that is colored thin. So I just do a DC. So no chain, I yarn over, I insert my hook underneath the chain space like this, and I do my DC like normal, and then I do my DC that's stuck on top of the one from the row below, and I have to do 2 colored ones. So I repeat that process, 1 DC that goes through. I'm going to redo it slowly. So I yarn over, I insert my hook right here, and then I do my DC like normal, and then I do the DC that is stacked on top of the other ones, and then I just have to do empty boxes and my increase at the end. Oops. So I don't do it here, I do it in this one, then I chain 1, yarn over 2 times, and I do the treble crochet in the same chain space that I placed my DC. Okay, so I'm going to do this row with you, then I will pause in those 2 for those 2 rows. I will let you do them on your own, and I will be back when we switch back to like with the part with no increases. So to turn over, I chain 3, I turn, I yarn over, and I do my DC where my 3 chains starts. And then I can I continue to follow my design. Here I need to do a DC because it's like a black pixel. So I yarn over, I insert my hook in, and I do my DC like normal, Then I do my DC on top of the stacked DCs. So I insert my hook and do my DC. Then I have 2 empty boxes, so I chain 1, I skip this DC, and I do my DC on top of the stacked one. If you don't want to do any mistake, you really need to look like, are my DCs stacked on top of each other? If they are not, that means you are crocheting on top of the, like, what colors the block in. So yarn over, insert my hook in the chain space from the row below, and DC, and then I do my second DC, that my other DC that is stacked on top of the DCs from the row below. And then I finish my row with the increase at the end. So not in here, in the chain, in the next chain, I do my DC, chain 1, treble crochet in the same spot I did my DC, and then chain 3 to start the next row. So I'm at the end of row 8, so I just need to do my last regular square space and my increase. So chain 1, DC, chain 1, and treble crochet in the same stitch. Here we go. So row 9, we don't have any more increases, so we can work the same way that I explained on this little graph. So at the end of a row, I have to do chain 3 chains. 1, 2, 3. I turn my work around and I will do my DC right here. Okay, I didn't put enough tension, so it's going to look a little ugly. See? So our DC is right here. We have our last increase and the beginning of row 9 right there. So I'm going to do row 9 with you. So from row 10 to row 28, I will pause the video, pause the recording, and do it yeah, because unfortunately faux crochet, I cannot, like, this is hours of work, so I cannot just do, like, if I were to film a crochet along video, it will be super long. And like faux crochet, once you understand how it works, like how it's structured, you don't need a crochet, like you don't need like a tutorial. You can just turn any chart into, you can just turn any pixel grid into a filet crochet piece. And if you are like familiar with crochet, it's kind of Like it's kind of like you can turn any, or knitting, it's kind of like you can turn any pixel grid into like a 2-color, something with like 2 colors, like color changing. Oops. What? Oh my god, what am I doing? Okay. I just love, like I say, I'm gonna stay with you, but I'm not explaining anything. Yeah, after I do I've gotten, I would say, a little bit faster at crocheting, so it might take you a little bit more time. After, like, I won't recommend doing fast faux crochet because it is kind of a pain. It's kind of painful on the end. Right now I can feel my, like, this, I just put like a lot of tension in my thumb to hold the work really tightly, so it's not really, it's a bit painful. Okay, so I'm at the end of my row, and so no more increases, so I just go like here, and then I can start my row 10. So I'm here right now, so I am at the beginning of row 10. I don't know, I think on which side. I'm on the beginning of row 10 on this side, but now you can go ahead and do row 10 to row 28 on your own, because row 29, that's where we start doing things differently. So if you are working with another chart, you do it until not the last row. You can come back to the video not at your last row, but on the row right before. Right now we just reach the end of row 29, and on row 30, that's where our decreases starts. So what we are going to do to start the row, I don't do a chain, I directly do, you can do a DC or a treble crochet, that's up to you. You can try both, see what looks better for you, and then we chain 3, and we place our DC right here, and we place our DC here. Just like that. So yeah, so it looks a little bit so here you have your last the last pixel of your 29th row, and here you have the first row and the first decrease of row 30. So then you do, so I'm going to pause and do and crochet until I reach here to demonstrate again. So when we are going to decrease on this side, you have two choices where you place your DC or your triple crochet. That's up to you. You can either put it here like that, or you don't do it where the DCs are, you do it a little bit more on the left. And it's just going to be a little bit more this way, because if you place it here, I find it to be a little bit more like not make a nice line like we have here. After it's nothing, after it still can be fixed when you do a border around it, and when you block it you can still like fix it. But yeah, and so then to start your last row, to start your next row, you chain 3, you turn around, you don't do the DC here, you do the DC here. Okay, so I'm going to show you one last time. So double or triple crochet. I don't do it on top of this DC, I do it a little bit more on the left, and I just do my DC like usual, and I chain 3, turn around, I don't DC here, I DC here. And that's it. So I'm going to finish the last 5 rows here, and I will see you to do the border. Okay, so I just finished my last final row, and now we are going to move on to the border. I'm just going to show you for this edge. So I'm going to chain 2 and make 2 DCs. So then I do a single crochet in the space next, and then in this space I do 3 DCs. Okay, so I just made my border all around, and I arrive at the end, but my problem here is that here I'm supposed to have 5 DCs, but that's the start of my border, and I also have to have 5 DCs. So if you're working on another chart, it doesn't have this problem and it falls like nicely. You don't have to do that, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to skip that. You can also do a slip stitch in this stitch, but for my case, but here I'm just not going to do it. And so here I have, so in this, so I'm just going to ignore this chain space, and here I have my 2 DCs I made, my first 2 chains that act as a DC. So I just have 2 more DCs to insert in that chain space. So 1 and 2, and now I go in, I do a slip stitch inside on the top of my 2 chains that I did here. Then I can just fasten off and tuck my tail. So now we are almost done, we just need to block it. So I'm going to show you how to block it. Okay, so now we are going to block our piece. So the thing is, so you can use like any blocking method you like to do, but Just need to make sure it's like stretch it out on the side. Just pull a bit off the top. That's the end of the tutorial. Thank you so much for watching, and feel free to leave any questions. Okay, bye.